So, welcome back. Welcome to the lecture number 18 of the Design Analysis of Algorithm course. In this session, we are going to talk about the maximum bipartite matching problem. So, essentially, we are going to talk about the matching problem that is being solved on the bipartite graph. And the matching that we are going to find out, we want to make it maximum. So therefore the problem is maximum bipartite matching. We will be one by one seeing that what do I mean by matching, then what do I mean by bipartite thing, and maximum. I think we need not to understand, everybody knows that. Let us start our discussion. Let me tell you that this class is going to be very simple, very easy class for you. So right now in front of you, you have a graph. This is a graph. And as you know that graph has two things, nodes and edges. So node number one, node number two, node number three, where is the four? Four, five, six, seven, 8, and 9. These are the nodes. And then there is some connection that we call edges. This is an edge, this is an edge, this is an edge. So there are various edges. So now I need your participation. Can you tell me that I want to ask from you that what is matching? Okay, let me tell you first, then I would ask something and you please give me the answer. So matching is actually a set where I'm going to collect edges. So it is going to be a set. So I say that it is going to be a set where I'm going to have the edges. So can you give me any edge? Anybody? Can you give me any edge? For example, let me take this one, okay? So it is 1 9, okay? I take 1 9, okay? Can I take anyone else? Can you help me to find out anything other? Can you please? Anybody please type anything?
1 2.
2 3, okay. So 2 3. I'm going to have this 2 3. Okay. So 1 minute. That before going to the before asking you anything else, I just wanted to tell you that something is written over there. That what is the matching? Matching is a subset of edges. So edges means all the edges, okay? And it is going to be a subset. So I'm picking one by one, so it is going to be a subset only. Not sharing nodes. So this is an important property, that if the set that I'm going to make is not sharing nodes, okay, they are not sharing nodes. The edges that I'm going to collect, they are not sharing nodes, then it is a matching. So the first one that we just constructed 1 9, it is also a matching, okay? And the second one that we have just now have, that 1 9 and 2 3, it is also a matching. So this is, let me call it matching M1. This is the matching M2. You can say that if I say that M1 means how many items over there. Similarly, if I say that M2, how many items into the M2. Definitely, you can say that M2 has a larger number of items. So this kind of relationship exists. Okay, all right, very good. So can you give me more? Anybody, please type. Can you give me more? 5 7. Okay, very good. So 5 7. I'm going to have 5 7. Okay, anything else? 6 3. Okay, let me just try to see. 6 3. 6 3. There is no connections between 6 3. Is there a connection I'm missing? Looks like there is no connection between this 6 and 3. They are not connected, na? 6 8. Okay, 6 8 is this. So I think 6 8 we can take. 6 8. Okay, very good. Anything else? Anything else? Yes, no? Hey, where are other boys? What are you doing? Can anybody? Yes, can you tell me? No others? I cannot add anything? Okay. So you have suggested me M2 that has how many? How many? Size of M2 was actually 4. So let me start once again. So can you give me anything that have 5? Is it possible to give me anything having 5? No, sir. Why? Somebody is telling that it's, Yogi is telling no. Okay, so it is not possible because it is each pair we have constructed. So if there has been any more node, then only it was possible, because not n by 2, because n by 2 we cannot get larger than the n by 2, and you know that this number is now fractional, so we cannot do it. So everybody understand now. Right now, I think you understand that what is a matching. Matching is a set. What is matching? Matching is a set that contains what? Edges, and edges are such that they are not sharing nodes. Okay. So we have just talked about that. What is the size of matching, and we want to find out the maximum size one. So you may be thinking that why this problem is very difficult. Why? How come it is difficult problem? Why we are thinking about in that particular term? So look, sometime it is very much important that in which way you are going. If the first node you select wrong, then you cannot go ahead. For example, in this particular graph, if I select the first node as CD, okay, if I think I have written wrong, I must have written a CB, okay. If I select the first one as a CB, okay, CB, then if I select this one as a CB, then what is the matching? Matching is of the size 1 only. So this is going to be of the size 1 because only one item is there. But if you don't select it, and then there is a possibility that you can select AB and CD. In that case, the matching would be of the size 2. So it is very important to see that in what order we are actually going to consider the things. Make sense? So here is a small definition that is a right definition. We have just understood this particular concept without any formal definition. So the definition is this: that given an undirected graph, a graph is given to you. Matching is a subset of edges, as I told you that it is a subset of edges, such that uh, for all the vertices which are there, at most one means not more than one edge of the M is incident on V. So essentially saying the same thing in a different words. So it is an optimization problem that involves combinatorics, because you have to find out permutation and combination in how many ways you can arrange the things. So if you don't put the things into the right way, you cannot exceed. Here is another example that is taken from the book. So here some notes were there. If you pick this one and this one, now you cannot add anything. But if you pick this, and this, then the size is 3. Again, the similar kind of example that is taken from the book. So it is not that easy. So one method could be that if you want to go into the brute force way, so you consider all the edges and their subset, okay, all the possible subset of the edges, and evaluate each of them, that whether they are a right matching or not. Because if they satisfy this condition, then only they are right thing. They are matching, otherwise they are not. So find out all the subset of edges and see if they are matching, because matching has a condition that should be followed. If it is a matching, then find out their size and report me the largest one. So how much time it is going to take? The time proportional to the number of items into the subset of the edges. How many subset of the edges are there? So you know that, let's assume that subset, if E is a set containing all the items, we can say that mod is the mod E is the number of edges that we have. So you know that 2 to the power mod E number of subsets can be found. And you also know that this E is actually can be very large, and it could be of the order of n square also. It could be of the order of n square also. So you can see that this is exponential problem. This is not a simple problem. It is going to take the exponential amount of time. Make sense? Do you agree with me? Yes, no? Yes? Okay. So now let me just restrict you to a particular kind of problem which we are going to solve today. It's called the bipartite matching problem, where I'm going to tell you that there is a graph that we can call as a bipartite graph. So bipartite graph is a graph where the all the edges, whatever edges you have, you can divide into two part, L and R. all the edges that all the vertices that you have, you can divide the vertices into two sets, L and R, and into the L left and R right sets are such that they are nothing in common. They don't have anything in common. So what do I mean by this? That all the nodes that you had, all the nodes that you had, you are telling that I am going to make a set where these nodes are there inside one set. Let me write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I say that 1, 3, and 4 into one set, that is L, and all other things are into another set, 2, 5, 6, 7, and 8. If I divide this in such a way so that, as you can see that here nothing is common. If I see that L and R, they are disjoint. So if I find out who are common, there is nothing common. Okay. One more condition, that for all the edges UV inside the edges, we have left inside the L and V inside the R. Means if there is an S, so if there is an S, very important condition it is, okay? Very important and fundamental condition that is very much needed to solve our problem. That is very, very important problem thing. It is telling that if you have an edge UV, it is going to start from U and V. The U would be here into L and V would be inside the R only. What do I mean by this? All the edges are of this kind only. If you draw edge over here, no, it is not permissible. It is not allowed. Make sense? Okay. I am giving the definition of the bipartite graph. Bipartite graph has two components, L and R, and all the edges which are there, they are from where? They are from U to V only. Okay, L to R only. They are from L to R only. Okay, one more condition, very important and interesting condition, that there is no edge in between. For example, if I say that, because I have constructed these things, it may be possible that there could be some edges from here also, na? Possibility of edges inside here. So those edges are also not permissible. Okay, there is no edge that is going from U to V and UV both are into L. UV both are into R. Those kind of edges are also not there. So one such example is this. You can very easily verify that here this, you can say that they are all going from their directional edges. They are going from L to R. Make sense? So till now it is very easy and all the things are very clear. So let me know if you have any problem. Now let me talk about the matching. Something more about the matching. A matching is called complete. Complete is a technical word. We are going to call about something that whether this matching is complete or not. A matching is complete if it has the same number of edges as the number of nodes in the one side. Okay, what do I mean by this? Sir, what do you mean by no edges are crossing each other? Rahul, did I said this? Sir, what do you mean by no edges? Acha, here, okay. This line, na? You want to understand that what this line means? This line says that if you want to build a edge such that it is going where U and V both are inside L, means what? That you are connecting here to here. Make sense? R in the second line says that you are connecting R to R. If something is coming from R to R, so it is not possible. It is not allowed. These kind of edges would not be there in a bipartite graph. If the graph is bipartite, then these kind of edges would not be there. Make sense? Rahul, was it your question? Did I answer it? All right. So this is what the definition is. Okay. So you know that there is something called neural networks. Okay. In the neural network, what happens? That you know that there are also layers and they are connected. Few nodes are here and they are connected to all other. So this is a kind of neural network. But into the neural network, we mostly, whenever we build these kind of things, it is a kind of fully connected. Now it is not fully connected. So when they are not fully connected, then we have another name that is called the restricted Boltzmann machine into the computer science domain. Have you anybody heard about this? Restricted Boltzmann machine. So they have given this names by, it's a fancy name. It only says that what is the restriction, that there is no edges or there is no connection between inside the layers. Things are inside in as a layer, and there is no connection between inside the layers. Make sense? So okay, any more questions? So we are talking about the complete matching. Complete matching means it has the same number of edges as the number of nodes in one side. So definitely you know that if here many, for example, here 4 things are there and here only 2 things are there, in that case, whatever matching you would be coming, it could be only like that. It is going to connect. It is going to connect all the things into this smaller side. So if 2 things are there, then one side there will be lesser things. So if the lesser things items are actually connected with all the things on the another side, however, this is wrong graph. Okay, because we have just seen that all the links would be only this side only. So this is a complete matching. Make sense? Is the bipartite graph directed in our context? Answer is yes. Bipartite graph is directed and all the edges are going from left to right. Make sense? Yeah. Okay. So, okay. You understand that what is a complete matching? It may be possible that lesser things are there into L. If this is a scenario that lesser things are there inside the L, it may also be possible 3 things are here and here 1, 2, 3, 4 things are there. So what maximum you can do? They can be connected like this. This is the maximum that you can do. So if one side, either the L or R, if they are completely occupied, same number of edges as the number of node in one side, then we say that this particular matching is a complete matching. Any questions till now? Let me tell you that it is always not possible. Okay, it is not always possible. As we have seen an example that in the previous example, what we have seen that if we go into the right way, then we can build. For example, if we connect these 2 things, then we can connect. But here, what I wanted to tell, that there are some problems, specific problem. For example, this particular set here, this particular graph here, you cannot make like that. You cannot do the complete matching, because whatever connection you pick, after that you cannot add anything. So it is not possible to have 2 things. Make sense? So if the problem is such that you can find it, then only you can find out the complete matching. Otherwise, you cannot. Okay. So we don't talk about this complete matching anymore. We just wanted to find out that how much maximum matching you can do. So then we talk about the maximal matching. And my definition of maximal matching, you all understand that. Let's assume that there is some matching M that is a maximal. Means it is of the larger size. So if you come up with anything M dash, if you come up with anything that is M dash, then the size of M dash is going to be lesser than or equal to the size of M. Please note that this matching is not going to be the unique, because I can come up with the different thing and you can come up with a different thing. For example, here I can give you this matching, or I can give you this matching. Both the things have the same one size. Make sense? Sir, cannot we add BC and AD to create a complete matching? Slide 5 by 11. Okay, on the 5 by 11, can we add BC and AD? BC and AD. Okay. BC and AD. We can add BC, we can add AD. Then the size would be 2. Okay. So I have constructed this example. You find out look what happened now. I have not actually showed here the directions. So that's why it was a bigger problem. So, okay, that is, I agree that if all the things are going into this side only, that you can do it. But essentially, look, don't go to this particular example. What my point is that I think you would be agreeing that there could be a sufficient there could be a counter example that can have that can be in that particular sense that you cannot create the complete matching. Okay, forget about this example. Here, I think you can create the two things. Okay, okay, because direction is not shown, therefore it's a problem. So let's not take it. So I think it is clear to you from this particular slide. We just wanted to tell you two things. Number one, that what is the complete matching? That one side, if the number of edges that we are going to select in the matching is equal to the number of nodes in one side, then it is a complete matching. Second thing that we have understood that there could be a counter example. The example or the problem could be in such a way so that you cannot get the complete matching. Since you cannot get the complete matching, so we want to find out the maximum matching. What is the maximum matching? It is defined in such a way so that if let's assume that M is the maximal matching, then if you come up with any other matching, it is going to have the lesser number of edges is in its set. Okay, it is very important to note that it is not unique, because if two size, for example, in our example, if you can come up with the two size, maybe different thing, you can come up with a different set that also have the two size thing. Okay, so now we have understood the problem. Let us also talk about the solution of this particular problem. And the solution is very simple. Actually, it uses something that we have learned into the last class. The solution says that we are going to reduce the problem to the flow network problem. Means whatever problem that we have, we are going to change it, we are reduce it, we are going to convert it to the flow network problem. The problem that we have, we are going to convert it to the flow network problem. So what is the problem that we have? We have a problem that we have a set L and we have a set R. We have a set R. They have some nodes, and we have set up that there is some connection. There is some connection between them, and we want to find out the maximal matching. So says the method is this, that here we know that number of vertices are actually divided into left and right sets. The solution says that how you are going to convert it is this, that you are going to add two more nodes. One is S, another is T. So you add a node S over here, and you add a node T over here, S and T. You are going to add these two things. This is the first thing. So because the graph was given to you, it has vertices, and edges. So I'm going to tell you that this vertices becomes V dash by adding two more items, U and V. Second, clear? Now I'm going to make this E to the E dash by adding few more things. What are those? So I am adding few edges, directed edges, that is coming from S and going to U, where U is inside the L. So for all the items which are there, I am going to as this edge, and this edge. I am going to as S to U, starting from S, going to U, starting from S, going to U. I am going to add those things, starting from S, going to U, for all the U's which are there inside the L. So for all the things which are there here, I am going to connect them with the S. I am going to call it E1. Few more edges are added. They are called E2 edges, and these E2 are, just see, U to T means, and U is inside the R. If there is anything inside the R, I am going to connect that with the what? T. Okay, I'm going to connect that with the T. This is how I'm going to make it. So this is the second set of edges that I'm going to call as a E2. Now I'm going to have all these things, E, E1, and E2, earlier things, these two things, and I'm going to call it E dash. I'm going to call it E dash. So the graph has been changed. So this graph, now this is the graph. Earlier, the green one was there, and now the green and blue, both things are there. Now my problem has been changed. All edges are directed with the capacity 1. This is an important line, that all these things are going to be an edges with the capacity. I am also going to, because it's a flow network need to have the capacity. I am going to assign the capacity of 1 to each of them. Any problem in this? So this is what my overall system looks like. Now, can I, because I have converted this to the network flow problem, so can I determine the maximum flow over here? Yes, we have seen that an algorithm, that is a Fulkerson algorithm. We can apply that algorithm and try to find out what is the maximum flow over here. So till now everything is clear, that we were given only this particular part, but we have added S and T and these connections, and with this also, by saying that all these things are going to have the capacity of 1, I have created a flow network. Problem has been converted. So finding out the matching problem is converted to the finding out the flow network problem. We know that algorithm, that there is an algorithm or Fulkerson algorithm that takes order of E time to give me the solution. What is very important to see over here, that if you analyze this particular graph, if you come up with any kind of uh, flow network, so how the flow would look like? Rahul is writing, but using this method may lead to increase of a vertex greater than 1. Rahul, I could not get you that what you want to say, but using this method may lead to increase of a vertex greater than 1. What is the vertex greater than 1? So two vertices are actually, yes, two vertices are actually increased. Earlier, whatever number of vertices were there, now 2 more vertices are there. So this is the change that I'm doing. Okay, let it be like that. No issues. Right now, please forget about that. 2 more edges are coming. I have converted the problem. I find out the solution. But please note that whatever solution I'm going to get, it is going to get the solution for the flow network problem. No, it is not the solution for my problem. Okay, if you have a confusion like that, that it is a different problem and we are going to solve something else, so try to understand this thing, that right now my problem is converted to the flow network problem. And if I solve this particular problem using Ford Fulkerson, I would be able to find out a flow. This is not an answer for my problem. So again, whatever answer I am going to get, I have to devise a method to get back my answer. Okay, so this is the one step that actually my problem is converted to the new problem. I also have to find out the second part, that whatever solution you are going to get over here, you have to convert it to the original problem, map it to the original problem. So that part actually being left. Rahul, is it clear? So we'll talk about later. Okay, make sense? Rahul? Rahul, are you there? Sir, I am saying incidence, but using this method may lead to the incidence of vertex greater than 1. Okay. Okay. So if you think that, this is, I think you should consider this graph also. Actually, this graph, can you see this? Here in this graph, you can see that this particular node has been many of the things are coming over here. By chance, I have given the exam, I have drawn something that actually, so it was like that. But here you can see that multiple thing can also come, multiple connection could also come over here. I think that can be taken care by capacity, Rahul. Understand that later. Thank you. So Rahul, this is the important thing, that one thing you try to understand, that here the things are connected. Okay, multiple things are coming to the one node. Very simple thing, na? Okay. So the same thing we should also consider over here also. So let me have this particular example, and I think I should also draw a few more edges. So this is the age, this is the age. This is few more connections. Let me draw. Okay. Yeah. Now I wanted to tell you that if you come up with any kind of flow, what kind of flow it would be. Just try to visualize this. Okay, so then things would be clear. So from S, something is coming to this particular node. Since the capacity is one, only one thing would come. It have to leave because it cannot stop over here because of the regularity condition. It will have to go somewhere. Three choices you have, three places it can go. Either can go here, or it can go here, it can go here, or it can go here. Three places it can go. Whatever place it goes, let's assume that it goes to this particular place, it goes here. Here also it cannot stop. He have to go out because it's a flow network, regularity condition need to be followed. So definitely it would go to the T. So this is what the network connection is going to be. If you come up with any kind of flow, this is going to be something like this. Try to see that if this is coming over here and it is only connected with the S, so nothing can come over here, only one unit can come. Input to the any of the node into L, only one unit can come in, number one. Therefore, only one unit can go out. So only one unit can go out to this particular node. But here, try to understand that whether is it possible to get more things here at this particular node. If this particular node is supplying something to it, can it get something from here also? Question is very important. Once again, if something is coming from here to this particular node, can something also come from the other node, for example, here? The answer is no, because outgoing is only one unit. Outgoing capacity is also one unit, and you know that it is coming. So, and definitely it is going to leave. So, two unit cannot leave from here because only one connection is there. So, definitely this is going to be killed. You cannot send anything from this particular route. Can you see this? So immediately, if you see this, what would happen that when you discover this kind of connection, immediately what would happen that this particular connection, let me tell you, this particular connection is not possible because now the three things that it was going, this actually get invalidated, and also anything cannot come over here, so it was coming over here, it also goes away. If you visualize this particular thing, you would be able to see that only it is a kind of disjoint path that is there. Nothing is connected in between. Okay, nothing is connected in between. It would happen everywhere. For example, if you say that if you find out in some way that there is a flow from here to here, then it goes to here and here, you can see that it is also independent kind of thing. Nothing is being touched by anything else in between. Okay. So whenever you would come up with a path, it would be something like this. Everybody try to focus on this important line. It would be something like this. The flow that you are going to come up with, it is going to be something like this because of this flow regularity condition and the carefully selected the capacity constraints, and it is because we are not going to send any flow that is less than one. It is only going to be of this kind of network, something like this. Okay, here you can see that this is also one thing independent, this is also one thing independent. All the paths are starting from S, and then after that they go somewhere, then after that they go somewhere, then they goes to T. Starting from S, they go to U, they go to V, and they end up to the T. This is only going to happen. Everybody comfortable about this? Everybody can see this? Can you see this? Okay, let's right now not talk about the maximum flow, only talk about the flow. Okay, the flow would be of this particular thing. If we come up with the flow would be only of this particular kind. Everything would be kind of disjoint. All the parts would be disjoint. Okay, can you write yes? Anybody write yes? So let's forget about the maximum flow right now. Let's only consider the flow in this particular network, the network that we have just created, the network that we just created using this kind of reduction. Let's just focus on the network that we have created using the reduction. Okay, let's just focus on this particular network. In this network, let's just focus on any flow, if there is any flow. So there is a small observation that I want to put in front of you. Just we have few minutes back discussed this. That let me read it. Let GVE be a bipartite graph that is given to me with a vertex partition in left and right. We know that there is a left and right partition. And we have created G dash be its corresponding flow network. We have created G dash that is a corresponding flow network. How we created, you know that. Now red thing is very important. Only one line, please read it. If M is a matching in G, if M is a matching in G, you come up with any kind of matching in G, then there is an integer valued flow in F in G dash with the value flow is equal to M. What do I mean by this? That we had a graph G, and in this graph, if you give me any matching M, so I am telling that I can use this to create a flow inside G dash. If you give me this matching, then I can create a flow in G dash. Okay, so how I am going to do that? You know that L and R are there, and matching means what? There is some connection. There is some connection over here, and there is S and T. So what I am telling that I would do one thing, that for all the things which are here, I would connect them with the S. For all the things which are here, I would connect with them with the S. All the things which are actually matching, I would connect this over S. Try to understand that there could be more nodes also. I'm not taking care of them. Okay. And all the things which are here, I would connect them with the T. Okay. In this way, I can create the flow. If I create the flow into this way, so how much is the flow? I'm claiming that it is going to be equal to the number of things into the M. Let us see a formal proof. That is great, but this was a proof sketch. So let us see a formal proof for that. Okay. So as I told you, for every UV, what I have a matching. So if there is UV into that particular matching, I am going to define a path S to U, then U to B, and then B to T. Such that the flow into S to U and S to V and S to T is equal to 1. Again, same thing as I was telling that I was using L and R, and I'm telling that if there is a connection, I'm going to connect this with the S. The same thing, it is going to be still told here. With the T, I'm going to connect. Everywhere the flow is 1. Everywhere the flow is 1. Okay. So if I do this kind of construction, is it a flow? How can I show that it is a flow? The flow has 3 properties. If you have a flow, once again recall that we have discussed in the previous session, that flow has a 3 property. First, no value should be negative. If there is a flow, no value should be negative. Value could be 0. It cannot be negative. So is it like that? All the values are, no value is negative. Is it like that? Yes, because it's our setting. Either the value is 1 or 0. So there is no negative value. So it is satisfied. Second thing, the flow is actually upper bounded by the capacity. Is it like that everywhere? The answer is yes, because everywhere I have placed the flow as a, how much flow? 1, and 1 is the capacity. I have, because of the setting, it is again going to happen because of the setting. Nowhere it is going to be increased with the capacity. Third thing is a regularity condition. Regularity condition means what? Regularity condition is an important condition that tells that in all the nodes, whatever thing is coming is the same thing that is going out. Regularity conditions should also be there, because if it's flow, so only S and T has only S can produce more and T can absorb more. All other things should have the regularity property, means that whatever is coming in, that should go out. This property is also satisfied. Why? Because flow is 1. So from whatever is coming from S to U, it goes to V because one unit is going over there. So everything that was coming to U has gone to the V. If something is receiving something, so it must be sending to something else. So U is receiving whatever U is receiving from S, it is sending to V. Similarly, whatever V is receiving from U, it is sending to T. So this flow regularity condition is also satisfied. Okay. Now this part remains, that how can I show that the flow is equal to the M? How I can show that flow is equal to the M? So here we can utilize a very important property that we have seen in the last class, that there is something called cut into the flow network. So if I say that there is a node S and there is a node T, and you divide them into two parts in such a way so that in one set there is S, another set there is a T. Okay, so I can say that this first set is going to be L plus S, L and S, and the second set that I'm going to talk about, it is going to have R plus T. Okay, just consider here R items of the R and T, item of the S and T. I'm going to take them. So if I take them into this particular way, so it is going to be called as a cut. Why it is a cut? Because in one side there is S, another side there is T. So it is cut. If we divide all the nodes into two parts, this was the definition. So it is called as a cut. And we know that the network flow is equal to the flow across what? This cut. Whatever flow is across this cut, it is equal to the flow of the network. So can you find out that how much flow is there across this particular line? If I divide this into this particular way, it is a cut. What is the flow across this particular line? Definitely, only flow would be there. Flow would only be there into the places where there is a connection from here to here. Okay, because they are directed edges. How many such edges are there? M, because only such connections were there. So what is F? Value of F is equal to value of M. Are you agreeing with this? Right? So this is how we can prove. This is the proof. This is the one part, that if you give me a matching, I would give you a flow. Okay, if you give me a matching, I can give you a flow. The second part is also coming from this thing. It is a converse part of the same thing, that if F is an integer valued flow into G dash, then there is a matching M in G with the capacity M is equal to F. So second thing says that if you give me any flow, not the maximum one, I can create a matching out of that. If you give me a flow, I can create a matching. I can give you a matching. And this is important thing for me, because given the problem G, I have created G dash. From G dash, I have find out F. If I can connect this line that from F, I can get the M, then my task is done. I can say that I'll forget about these things, which whatever happened in between. You can say that it from G, I have got M. Everybody understand this part? The second part, important part, that if F is an integer valued flow into G dash, then there is a matching M in G with the capacity M is equal to F. So how can I create it? So what is given to me? What is given to me? A flow is given to me. Okay. What is given to me? A flow is given to me. A flow is given to me. F is given to me. I need to create a M. So to create this thing, we have to again see that particular observation, that every path in the flow would be independent. You know this? We have seen that every path that is going to be inside the flow, it is going to be independent. We have seen earlier that this kind of scenario is going to happen, that if there is a path into the flow, it is going to be independent. Okay, we know this. Since we know this, so what we can do, what we can say is say using this. So the flow conservation flow would be like this. If you consider any of the flow, it would be like this, that it would start from S, go to some U that is inside L, then go to some v that is inside r, then it reaches to the t. So for every path, for all the path that you are going to get into this particular thing into your flow, you do one thing, that for every such path you extract this u and v and you add into the set m. In the set m you add u v inside this particular m for every flow. So how many flow are there? Mod f flows are there. For each of them you are going to add one thing over here. So what is the size of m? It is mod m. Whether they would be independent, whether they would would be sharing any node, answer is no, because we have seen that all the flow are actually independent, so they would not be sharing any nodes. So therefore whatever we are going to get is going to be a matching. Is it a right proof? Okay, so now let us solve our problem. What is our problem? That we were given a g. So the solution is this, that create g dash, as we have talked about few minutes before. Then you apply fold filtration to find out the maximal flow. Maximal flow, not any flow. Flow of maximal flow. Then you use this flow, because you can, from any flow you can create the m, you can create m, and its size would also be the maximal. So as I told you that ultimately you have achieved that from G we have actually computed this particular solution. How much time this algorithm is going to take? Order of E, because this conversion is again going to take order of E amount of time, and because actually what happens now, as I told you that E and V, if we want to consider, if we want to compare them, so number of nodes, here the number of nodes are there inside the V. So it is going to be size of E is equal to size of V square. It is something out of order of that. So we can say that E is actually a bigger number as compared to the V. So if something is order of E, so it is bigger than the order of number of nodes. So whatever we have added when we are constructing this thing was only of the order of V. But here we are talking about order of E. So actually it says that E plus V is equal to order of E. This takes order of E time, and this conversion also takes order of E time. So total number of time is order of E. Okay. Hope it is clear to you. Very easy algorithm. So once again, it's a very simple and